We'll
right.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Save it for the show.
Okay. We can actually start. Put on a headset if you want. Kind of loosey-goosey here. Hi, welcome to Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I'm Howie Mandel.
I'm Jacqueline Schultz.
And we have Finneas here.
I'm so excited.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
This is my daughter, by the way.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
I feel like I'm
too.
slowly meeting your whole family.
There's
Well,
another one.
You met another daughter.
That's right.
And you know what? I actually have 3
Good to
kids,
see you
and
again.
my son is a producer on here, too.
This is what I'm saying. Slowly but surely.
How do you feel about working with family?
I'm super against it.
I know.
I would never
That's
do
why
it.
I want to show you. You can work it. You can work it out. You can make it happen.
I think it's great because I think that in a working relationship, there's always disagreements. There's always discourse, and like the person I'm the happiest to be in a fight with is my sister because I love her the most.
But it's not only your sister. I think your whole family is involved in your business.
It's true. We're all very intertwined. But you know what I mean? Is fighting with your family is better than fighting with strangers, I think.
We don't know. I don't necessarily agree with you, but I gotta just besides being a fan of yours, we bumped in. The reason he's here is a week ago we were at the same restaurant.
I heard all about this afterwards.
Him and his girlfriend were picking up a sandwich.
Yeah.
And my other daughter, not that you're a huge fan. He just goes, "You're not gonna believe who just walked in," and it was Finneas is here. And I said, "Where's Ferb?" And how many times have you heard that?
Growing up more than now. Now it's where's Billy. But
really?
Yeah, for years it was where's Ferb.
Your full name, you go by Finneas professionally.
My full name is Finneas Ferb O'Connell. It's crazy.
Is it? Do you have a weird middle name? I know your sister does.
Baird, which is my mom's last name.
Right.
Yeah.
But Billy has like pirate or something?
Eilish is her middle name. Billy is Billie Eilish O'Connell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and Baird O'Connor and O'Connell, and it's a big family business, right?
Yeah, it's true. That's a good way to put it.
No, but it is.
Yeah.
I mean, before you're an actor, I think the first time I saw you was as an actor.
Okay.
My buddy Adam was the music guy on Glee.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, and you were a character on Glee.
I was in the last 4 episodes of the totality of the show. I was in the last 4 episodes of the last season of Glee. Yeah.
Did you think that was the big break?
You know what? It was. It had a predetermined end. It was already. I knew going into it. It was only the last 4.
But then you can go on to do more
You
stuff.
do the spin-off, yeah. Truth be told, I have always wanted to be a musician, and I had an acting agent because I grew up in LA, and liked acting too. And so you could go on auditions.
But music first.
I always wanted to do music, but I would just go on auditions because you have the time.
So I know nothing about music.
Okay.
But I talked to you about being a fan of yours, and I'm a fan. I love the music,
Thank
but
you.
I don't know anything about it. I don't really understand music. I just understand what I like, and
Right.
I judge music. And
As you should.
I don't know why but we all do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's why. But here's what really, when I met you, and I told you this, I think you're one of the funniest people I had ever seen. No, and I got to
So
say,
nice of you.
if you don't follow Finneas on TikTok,
Yeah.
follow Finneas on TikTok. And here's what I thought it was so amazing. First of all, he does this thing. If you're not on TikTok, he does a lot of things called stitches.
Yeah. That's
And-
kind of that's like my bread and butter on there. It's the only thing I know how to do is the stitches.
Your bread and butter. Are you making money on TikTok?
No. Unmonetized.
The real money is your TikTok. Music isn't doing it for you.
That's right.
But here's the thing: you have such an amazing kind of deadpan energy where you comment on these bizarre images.
Your
Yeah.
TikToks are very similar, by the way.
We have the very
the same
similar,
tastes?
but
Yeah.
I like the taste. One of my favorite ones, I don't know if it's new or old, but if you're on TikTok, there's just a shot of you. You did like their green screen filter.
Yeah.
And it's you saying nothing, just kind of blinking with a blank look on your face.
Yeah.
And behind you, the shot is a fungus, a damp piece of yellow fungus. I'm colorblind. I don't know. A damp piece of yellow fungus.
Yeah.
And there's just these fingers flicking the moisture off the fungus. And there's Finneas's head below that, not saying anything, just blinking like, here it is.
Yeah.
And to me,
You liked it?
I watched it probably, maybe there's something wrong with
That's
me.
all your views. All your views came from one person.
100 times giggling and just going, this is fucking brilliant. This is, and this is, and I love that juxtaposition of your energy. What?
Somebody's pulling it
There
up.
it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at this. Look, watch this. It's just.
This is great for podcast material.
Well,
by the way.
you know what? Watch it. You can watch this on YouTube.
Listen to that sound.
You can hear it.
Oh my God. It's
Very
disgusting.
phallic.
It sounds like something else,
And
but it
he's
isn't.
saying, I think at the start he says, "Oh yeah, yeah."
Yeah, he does.
It's pretty gross.
It is. But the thing that made me laugh the most is your non-expression. Your non.
Thank you.
But I also thought, and then when I was thinking, when you were coming in here, I thought
Yeah.
this is kind of, even his music and how he creates music is kind of comedic. When you think of,
Thanks.
but it is, because when you talk about a sense of humor, it is a sense, and it is finding humor where there like is flicking a wet piece of fungus funny
Right.
to most people, but you found the humor in it. And by the same token,
Thanks,
I think this is the same intellect that finds music in an Invisalign being removed.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah. Listen, I think you've made me laugh my whole life. I'm a
Thank
big
you.
fan of yours, so it's an honor to be here. Nice to meet you officially. I think you're hilarious. I think that, and I just saw somebody else saying this, and I don't remember who, so I apologize for not attributing it. But I think you can throw more weight with seriousness if you're funny also. You know what I mean? If there's an awareness of like, not everything is serious and I can make you laugh, especially Billie's first album, which is the one that starts with that clip of us, like her pulling out her Invisalign and sucking the spittle out of it. And being like, I thought that was a funny way to start it, because otherwise it's a very dark album. Like there's like a song about suicide, and there's songs about your friends dying and your friends doing drugs and being comatose. And it's a pretty dark record. And I thought, if there's a couple moments of real levity, you'll be sort of disarmed by it, and then you can go deeper down the path of like, this is really serious. I think when stuff presents itself as like take this seriously, you almost, as like a knee-jerk reaction, want to make a joke about it. You know what I mean?
Well,
You say that all the time with comedy. Like,
well, comedy, if you're looking at somebody who looks like they're trying to be funny,
Right.
it looks like they're trying to be funny. And it's like somebody who comes up to you and says, do you want to hear a joke? But no, I don't. I don't want to hear a joke.
Yeah.
I'd rather laugh at what I think is real.
Right.
And maybe I'm being too deep about this, but
No.
you... In watching some things, I did very little research.
That's
I just
fine.
wanted to talk to you because I really am truly a fan, and
Thanks,
I'm more
man.
interested in. I don't want to do homework about people that I like. 'Cause
Well, then you do it we do it during the show.
that's
why I'm here.
the point.
Yeah.
But the fact that you are finding, I'm always questioning, why is this funny, or why might be funny to me and not to anybody else. When you think about traditionally doing music, you think about the ability to play an instrument, like piano, guitar, singing, or whatever. To find that you are identifying musicality in things that could be like you talked about the Invisalign, and you talked about, I know that you've sampled like other sounds that are like, to me, I would hear that sound and not see or hear or identify the musicality in that. And I also think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And you don't always share that until you talk about it after. When I hear it on the radio, I don't know that's the...
Right. I'd prefer, there's sort of two, and I've done both plenty, so I don't want to knock either one. But, there's like, I'll use sound effects as kind of like punchline sound effects. Like, I was just listening to something I'd done a couple years ago the other day, this Camila Cabello song where she has a line about like taking a drink, and I sampled myself like pouring 2 shots and then clinking the shot glasses and put that right under the line. And that stuff is really satisfying to me. Like, I like that, but I'm almost more interested in using a sound and disguising it and not having it, be sort of recognizable at all. And then, whether I talk about it or not, it's like, that's what that actually is. But I'd rather you just think it's a cool sound than be like, oh, he's doing the thing with the you know what I mean? Like
But do you find
subtlety.
that, maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but do you find like it's kind of a sense of humor to like hide? It's like a hidden...
Yeah, I totally feel that way. That's absolutely how it feels. It's like, can we get away? It's like getting away with stuff.
Like it's an inside
have you ever
joke.
done that though, where you're sitting in a room and you're like, we're just going to, I mean, I can't think of anything better, but we're going to fart and hide it in a
Right.
song and no one's going to know. And it's just going to be
This is
between
my
us.
child.
It's my little joke.
Have you
it doesn't have
sampled
to be
your
a fart.
farts?
Yeah, stuff like that is like a great example of like just stuff that Billy and I look at each other and smirk
Yeah.
because our one, you know, especially her first record that we recorded in our parents' house, like, oh, like one of our parents was like sneezing in the background of that vocal take. We just thought it was funny and left, you know what I mean? Things like that where you like, it's not going to impact, it's not going to make the song a hit, but it's not going to make the song fail. Like why not? Let's leave it in.
And there's some joy in.
Yeah, and it's more human, it's more organic. I think that like I've never recorded analog. Like I'm in the digital generation. I've never been in a studio with a tape, you know, playing. And one of the sort of shortcomings of digital recording, there's a lot of benefits, but one of the shortcomings is stuff can feel very sterile, can feel very like no substance, not human. It's just in the box. There's no noise floor. There's no warmth. There's no crackle.
Right. And from a parent sneeze, you can get mucus. You can get snot.
So much.
You can,
But yes, and noise of the world kind of supplements that. You know, you if I'm somewhere, I do this all the time. I'll be in a city on tour, and I'll just put my phone with the microphone on a table at a restaurant and record like people talking and the waitress coming over and taking your order. And then I'll put it really low in the mix, but it's cool. It's cool. It really creates this kind of like environment for everything else to live in that otherwise is just like complete empty space.
and do you think that's like subliminal advertising? Where
Right. I suppose so.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm saying like you sometimes you'll listen to music or watch a comedian and you don't know why I love it and why I relate to it.
Yeah.
But there's something that is warm and really identifiable about it that or there's not that much thought.
Yeah.
But yes to what?
Yes to both. I assume it's like a subliminal thing. I mean, I'm not selling anything. I haven't yet. Maybe
Right.
maybe I'll start doing like a Regenix sponsorship.
I know what you should do.
What?
You should just go sneak around behind him, and while he has his phone out, he doesn't even know you're there. You just
Proto.
Howie Mandel Does Stuff.
Yeah, Howie Mandel Does Stuff,
Howie
or the
Mandel Does
or the
Stuff.
the hologram
Oh,
machine
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We could sell shit.
Yeah.
But also another thing is that I thought about you and your music and also your sister. I feel that which is kind of freeing when I watch it. You don't seem beholden to anyone, you know, to even the audience.
Right.
No, but there's something refreshing about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a great observation, and we're very
I'm
lucky.
really smart, aren't I?
It's true, man. We're very lucky to be in that position. We have a team around us of people that we discuss a lot. I mean, just the other day she was on the group chat scheming up a whole new thing, and you know, she makes it an open dialogue. So, you know, people write back and be like, "Ooh, I like that idea a lot." Maybe
being
Billy, my sister.
Oh.
But yes, she really is the captain, which is really cool. And
How is that for you?
for me, it's awesome. Like
You're the older brother, and your little sister is the captain.
I mean, listen,
You're the first mate.
I think she's I'm Starbuck at best. I would say that she I think she's a genius personally, but I think beyond that, I feel very comfortable dissenting. I feel very comfortable being like I don't agree with that. But the benefit of her being in charge and of it not being like a duo or anything is that she is the person on the cover. It's her career at the end of the day. And if we have a disagreement and she goes, no, like I know it should be this. I'm like, hey, listen, it's your album. You know what I mean? It's a good place to be. And I don't envy the great bands.
I'm not sensing, and I think that's the biggest problem in this business, in the world. I'm not sensing an ego. Do you not have I know that before we ever knew Billy, I know for a fact, number one, I saw you on TV. Number two, I know that you had a band when you were 15 years old,
That's right. Yeah.
Right? So somebody that goes into this, I mean, you were pining for recognition,
Sure.
success. So is there not...
Yeah. I would say that, like, I don't want to pretend that I don't have an ego, but I feel very recognized and fulfilled. And, you know, I love working hard and playing shows and being a part of Billy's career, and I love putting stuff out on my own, but I don't feel whatever that, like, forever empty thing that other people seem to feel. Like I don't constantly need more.
I envy you then. I am the complete opposite. I am the person that's like, my sister goes to school and I need to go to school longer. Or like my sister or my brother knows something, so I need to know something more.
I will say this though about that.
His parents are better than yours.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I think if Billie's career were independent of mine from the beginning, I would be envious of it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think I'd be like, wow, I wish I were a part of that. But I am a part of it. So I feel, proud of her success. And then when she goes off and doesn't, she's got wide-ranging interests in and out of the sort of field. She directs her own music videos. She has an amazing like clothing partnership with Nike and amazing fragrances. Like those are areas I don't touch at all of hers. And
you don't care how you smell?
I care. I smell a lot, but I'm not helping her make the freight. Like she knows exactly what she wants it to be, and I'm impressed by all that stuff. So I don't have, I don't seem to have like a debilitating ego. I definitely have an ego. I don't think anyone is in the entertainment industry that is successful by accident. You know what I mean?
But you guys seem different. You really do. And I was fascinated even as a parent to watch siblings so connected and so supportive of each other. And even, I think where did I see you? Radio City Music Hall. I went to see Billie at Radio.
We had so much fun at that. Remember she like climbed up the side booths and stuff?
But in between the opening act and you guys... I saw your dad come out.
How crazy is that?
And sweep the stage because I guess there was something he was worried about, her slipping on something, or she had a sore leg.
On that tour, the stage was a screen. The floor was a screen.
Right.
And it was made out of a crappy material. Now we have a floor screen that is made out of a material that you don't trip and fall. Yeah, it's grippy. And that one was nice.
A Nike sole.
That one was really slick. And so our dad would sort of like make sure to wipe it down so that, because I think the most slippery it would get was if there was like dust, right? If there was
really
stuff that, you know what I mean? That kind of, do you know what I mean? So it was
I've never walked on a screen.
If it was as clean as possible, that was the most grip your shoes would have on it. If it was kind of dusty and particly, then it would be.
And then your mom was, I think, right on the stage videotaping. Am I right? Am I correct?
I'm pretty sure at Radio City we had a documentarian on
but somebody
stage.
Said that's their mom.
I'm sure she was around filming, but I think there was Jenna. We called her Jetpack Jenna because she wore that huge camera rig that like goes over your head. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like to support the camera.
No, but you saw someone with like a.
No, I'm sure our mom was in the room filming, but the person on stage was Jenna, the wonderful camera operator who was.
No, not this wasn't during the show. This was like before and after, and your dad was there, and I thought. This is so effing great. Yeah. The whole family is involved. The whole family has, and there's no sense of ego. What I want, and I haven't been able to do, is raise children who are really supportive of each other.
You haven't?
No.
Aren't they all,
and they're all here.
3 of your children in the same
but there's
20-foot radius?
They really are right now. They're all here.
Yeah.
This is Jackie. My son Alex is producing. He's back there, and Riley is sitting back there.
That's a lot of support. I'm going to discredit that. I think you guys are.
No, but you won't be here after for why didn't you do this and how did you do that?
We're a family too. We bicker. Bickering is this is part of what makes it fun to work with your family is bickering and maligning each other. It's fun.
We don't argue. Alex and I have only been in one fight ever in our whole entire life. One physical fight.
Yeah, over the song Let It Be.
Let It Be. He wouldn't let me sing Let It Be.
At what, like a family talent show?
Yeah, at home.
So he beat the shit out of her for not singing Let It Be. Yes, let it be. Anyway, but back to you.
Yeah.
You are so accomplished at a crazy young age.
I know.
You have it is nuts. Do you think
crazy.
It's nuts?
Yeah.
You have an Academy Award.
I know. Isn't that nuts? It's crazy.
Where is it?
It's in my shelf, on my shelf at home. You know what's funny about the Academy Awards? You win it, and okay. Let me give just the stupidest tangent that is
tangents sort of are all us
unapplicable but interesting to me. When you win a Grammy, they hand it to you on stage, and you hold it.
You've won 6, right?
8. I've won 8.
I'm Canadian. There's an exchange rate.
That's right. So 6 Canadian Grammys.
No,
8 American.
8.
So you win a Grammy, and they hand it to you, and you make your tear-filled acceptance speech, and they immediately take it back from you, and they're like, "Thank you," and then you go take your photos, and they hand them to you again, and they immediately take it. Nope, and they take it back, and then it's months before you get them. Like they have clearly like 10 kind of prop Grammys at the actual award show that they hand.
But months to get engraved, because there's a place on Ventura Boulevard in the San Fernando where you can buy a trophy and get it engraved in 15 minutes.
That explains why my Grammy says "World's Best Dad."
Yeah.
Anyway, so they take months to get to you, which is fine. Who cares? The Oscars, they hand it to you, and it's yours, and then you go to the after party, and you hand it to them, and they engrave it at the after party. So the Oscar that you get handed on stage is yours, and
there's somebody at a table doing engraving.
Yeah.
It's like a bat mitzvah.
It's exactly like a bat mitzvah. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, this is just like a bat mitzvah. But the funny thing is, then you're at this after party. You spend the entire night holding your Oscar, and there's 20 other people holding. There's the guy, the one best documentary short, holding his Oscar, and it's pretty nerve-wracking because it's really heavy, and you don't want to bump it into anything.
At a certain point, you don't feel like a winner.
You hold it like this. And again, it's like, and the fun part is like everybody that gets to like pass it around and hold it, which is really fun.
They want to touch it.
But it is, I found it pretty nerve-wracking because I'm like, never in the rest of your life do you ever pick up an award of yours ever again, really? I mean, unless, do you kind of like walk around with like your Emmys?
Yes, all
I
the
don't
time.
have Emmys.
All the time.
I don't have an Emmy.
I'm just kidding.
Do you walk around with your little Kids' Choice Award, orange blimp?
I got, you know what I got? And I got to go home with, I got COVID at the Kids' Choice Award.
That is what he got.
That I got. And I got to walk around with that for like 2 weeks. And everybody said, can I have your COVID? Nobody said, can I share the COVID?
Can I hold it?
No, nobody touched it.
Anyway, so the night of the Oscars, you carry it around all night and worry about bumping it into stuff and scratching it. And you worry about losing it. I believe last year, Frances McDormand lost her Oscar.
How do you lose it? What, like,
you probably put it down and pick up a drink, and then you look back and somebody's taken it.
Did you buy a shelf for your Oscar, or did you have a shelf?
My house came with a shelf. Yeah.
What are your dreams for the future? Like, where do you? I'm also fascinated with somebody who has maintained so much success so early in life,
right?
And kind of understands what that success is.
Yeah.
What is weird? Like in my 20s, when I was your age, I hope I get, can I just?
Well, but correct me if I'm wrong. You were a successful comedian pretty early, yeah?
At your age, how old are you?
24?
24? No, 23 was the first time I ever, it was the first time I ever got on stage.
What was the time frame between first time getting on stage and like selling out a show or something?
About 3 years.
That's pretty fast.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. But I did have to give it some context.
Yeah.
In my day and age, the litmus test was getting on the Tonight Show, on the Johnny Carson show. If you got on the Johnny Carson show, then you made it.
Right.
So here you are at the age that I just got on the stage, and you've won 8 Grammys.
Right.
An Academy Award.
Yes.
You can do whatever you want. Your bread and butter really comes from TikTok.
That's right.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Well, probably just like you, whenever you were feeling like, wow, I've done the thing I want to do. Like to me, I've found it very liberating in a sense that like I really enjoy the sort of craft of it. Like I enjoy the working on it. I enjoy writing the songs and recording them and putting out the record. And I think that I didn't have that big expectations to begin with, but let's say I did, like having an album that does really well, winning a Grammy, whatever, those things are amazing. And I feel like, great, like bucket list items achieved. Like now I can kind of go back to just working on the craft and doing it from a kind of a pure like love of the game.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if you wanted to go backwards, because I know even with you, you've reached a level of success that most people would deem as a level of success. But you love being able to do this podcast because you get the freedom to do whatever you want. Like you went from having complete and total freedom when creating in your house, in your room. True. Now there's companies and management and record labels and sponsorships that have to have a little bit of say. Do you miss the complete freedom?
They're really interesting, and I think if I budget my time correctly, I still have enough time to do and Billie and I make records in a very free way. We really just make the stuff we want to make at the speed we want to make it. But
you have no delivery schedule?
I'm a big believer in deadlines, but it's like they're self-imposed.
But when you did the song that won the Academy Award, that's a movie's coming out. How far?
That one was that's okay. That's a great example of like just a sort of that was a lifelong dream of ours. We've always thought the Bond music pairings were so cool.
Right.
I mean, especially the ones that were coming out while we were growing up, like our contemporary films, which were the Daniel Craig films. That the songs were like Adele and Sam Smith, Jack White, Alicia Keys, Chris Cornell. I think that's the pantheon of the Daniel Craig series. That was a thing that after Billie's first album had come out, we sort of said to our team, hey, if you get wind that there's another Bond movie being made, let us like go beg for that. Like we'd love to try to impress them enough that we get the job. And so our team set about talking to the people at MGM and talking to Barbara Broccoli, the wonderful producer. And so it was this kind of long process of meeting them, convincing them that we were passionate about it and that it was important to us. I think that was like the most important thing to us, was that they knew that we had kind of a reverence for the process. We're like, we really want to do this. It's not just like, yeah, sure,
Right.
And that was very much an audition. They really the film
when you
before,
are auditioning, when you're having that meeting, how far into the film is the film even in production?
The film was in production when we were meeting Barbara. She flew to Ireland from nearby where they were filming the movie at the time. We were playing a show, so she flew out to see our show and meet with us, and we just happened to have like a great show that day. It was one of those funny things where you get off stage, like when you're trying to impress somebody and you have an amazing stand-up set. You're like, I'm so glad that's the one they came to.
Right.
So we felt really good about it. We met with her. She told us a little bit about the film. She gave us the first 20 pages of the script to read and was like, we'd love to hear what you come up with. It was very like
non-committal,
totally non-committal, which I respect. Why would they commit to using us if we're going to write a terrible song? Like, they don't know. So,
and there's a release date, right?
So there's
a delivery date for you.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely sort of a submit by date for sure, of like, this is when they would like to.
So how long between they say write a song to delivery of a date of a song?
I remember when we'd read the script, I remember Tony Seiler at Billie's label, who was one of our sort of liaisons. I remember him saying like, probably in about a week.
No.
From the time we were sitting down, like,
are you kidding
do you guys
me?
have anything? And I remember, because we were on tour, we were in Texas playing the festival Austin City Limits, which is a 2-weekend festival.
I know what that is, yeah.
Super fun. And so it was that week. We had the first weekend, and then we were on tour in Texas, bookended by those 2 weekends. And I remember, I think we rented, such an interesting, weird story. I think we rented a studio from the Hanson brothers, from the Ben Hanson.
Bop.
In
She-bop. No, is it
Mbop.
from, I think that it was in Tulsa.
She-bop.
I think it was in Tulsa. And we went in there for a day, and we were so
you look like a Hanson brother.
That's right. And I was homeschooled like a Hanson, just not for religious reasons, which is different than the Hansons. But
Is that why they're religious?
yeah, it was
Oh, I have no
homeschooled.
idea.
Anyway, so we were in this Hanson studio for one day. They were super friendly. I think they unlocked the studio for us. They were very kind. And Billie and I really wanted to write something great. And we had that performance anxiety thing where we were just like, we can't make anything today.
And so you have a week. I want to go because I
Yeah.
find this fascinating.
Sure.
Because it's like Netflix says we want to give you a special,
Yeah.
but they'll give you 4 or 5 months to put together. So you have a week. Do you know the title?
We did. We knew the title, and I knew I had a lot of goals in mind. I was like, I really want the song to be the same title. That's not always the case of the Bond themes. Sometimes.
And
they're
you know what the
different.
story is?
We knew the first 20 pages. So we knew.
You don't even know how it ends.
No, we didn't know. Spoiler: the movie's been out for a while. We didn't know he was going to die. So
The
does
title
die.
was Time to
no
Die.
time. Yeah,
No Time to Die. So you didn't read the whole title.
That's right.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, we had this one day in the Hanson studio where we made nothing, and then the next 3 days were show days, I believe. We're down in the basement of the arena where Billie's playing, and I started playing the piano part, which became the song. And it was one of those sort of like, I think this is the right track. And then, as songs sometimes do when you're lucky, it just sort of spilled out over the course of, I think, a day.
So the music comes out first.
In that song's case, we knew that the melodies had to feel like very in the Bond milieu. We were like, this has
That's
to
for our audience. That's French for it's got to feel like that Bond theme. We don't have a French audience.
That is what milieu means. It has to feel like Bond.
This is the second time I've had to explain that word to our audience, which is déjà vu.
Who said it the first time? Do you know?
The guy who came up with déjà vu.
The guy who invented it.
The guy who came up with déjà vu said it every time.
The déjà vu roller coaster at Six Flags. That guy. Anyway, so we wrote. I'm going to keep that one in the TikTok drafts. That one didn't land.
The déjà vu roller coaster. I want to go on that again.
Funny.
See?
Funny.
Yeah. See? We're working. I feel like I'm in the basement of an arena coming up with something that's going to be good at the end of this week. So you come up with the milieu, like the feel, the music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we wrote the lyrics together, and we worked on the melodies together, and then we recorded the demo, which the demo really ended up being basically the entire final vocal and the piano part. So a lot of the demo ended up in the final version, but we recorded enough to submit. And then we submitted.
At the end of the week.
At the end of the week, I felt really good about hitting the deadline. And then we basically didn't hear anything for a month and a half.
Holy shit.
Which was pretty like...
So you thought that was a no? I would have thought that was
I would have thought that was no.
We were really proud of the song. And so I think we had a feeling of like, you know, that confidence. If we'd felt insecure about the song, we would have been really worried.
No, but it's like an actor who goes in for an audition
and they kill
they're just
it.
Going, but they're just going another way, right?
Yeah,
it's
whatever.
Not
but the reason that's a good comparison is if like I've been in auditions and kind of sucked, and if I walk out, I think, well, I'm not going to get that. But if I did great, I think like, well, they might go another way, but I'm proud of what I did. You know what I mean?
And you felt like that about
I don't
the song.
have regrets.
So 6 weeks. I'm fascinated by this timeline because you got a week.
Yep.
The movie's in production.
That's right.
How far after production was the release date? And I would imagine the final mix and adding the music and everything is months before that even comes out because they got to do all the trailers all that.
That's right.
So it's 6 weeks. Yeah. And then
we get I get kind of cold called by Hans Zimmer.
Oh, wow.
The cold call is a little bit of an exaggeration, but I got this kind of, hey, Hans Zimmer has jumped on board to score the movie, and he might give you a call. And I was like, oh, wow. So we're still in the discussion.
Hans Zimmer? Hans himself didn't call.
No, I get kind of told he's going to call you. And I was like, oh, wow. Because I think he's a legend, and
oh my God,
was super exciting.
I would imagine the same feeling when Howie Mandel says, do you want to be on my podcast?
When I turn around in the Mendocino Farms in Marina Del Rey, and it's Howie.
No, I'm just trying to put this in perspective.
Yeah. Same deal. Yeah. And anyway, and so I get kind of told like Hans is going to call, and then I get a text from him. It goes, hey, Finneas, this is Hans. Give me a call. And so I call him, and he doesn't pick up. And then what are they called? Like restricted, like a phone number calls you like from the
me.
Do you know
I have no caller. I don't put my name on
blocked or whatever. Yeah, it says like restricted ID.
Hans and Howie.
That's how you hit Hans. You call him, he doesn't pick up, and then a restricted number calls you. It's a little stupid, but that's fine. He's amazing. And he's on the phone and he's like, hello, this is Hans Zimmer. And you're like, yeah, I know. And he's
yes,
like,
who?
And he goes, so you have not seen the movie, no? And I was like, no, the movie's done. And he was like, they're editing the movie now. You got to come to London to see the movie. You and Billy need to come here. And we're like, okay. And he's like, that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna finish we're gonna finish the song here in London with an orchestra, but you have to see the movie first. And we were like, cool. So we and I'm kind of calling like our managers and our label, and I'm like, did we get it? And they're like, no. They're
like, just won 2 tickets to a screening.
They're like, you didn't, like, we don't, like, nothing is promised at all. Like, but they're moving forward, but it's not, you know what I mean?
Do they take good care of you when they're doing that? Do they
yeah,
pay
it was awesome. Yeah, I think they flew us
private?
out. No, but
JetBlue.
I mean, yeah, JetBlue. We flew out Spirit, actually. No, we flew, then we flew nice seats to London. But it was like the week before Christmas, which was added to the kind of magic of the whole thing. We fly out there, we see the movie. The movie's great, but we were so jet lagged, and the movie's like 7.5 hours long, which is great. Right.
Was it scored? Are you seeing it without music?
Temp score. So like literally music from movies like Inception and Dark Knight, like other Hans Zimmer movies to kind of temp it. And our song's not in it. Obviously, they're not sort of saying like you got it. But we're there.
They're negotiating,
and they're really cool. Hans was super cool. The other people we worked with in Hans camp were super cool. And then we devised.
Is Hans taller than you thought?
Oh, Hans is funnier than I thought. Right. Hans is very funny. I don't know that he's taller, but he's delightful. And a workaholic also. I remember leaving the studio at like 9 or 10 p.m. and coming back in the next day at 11, and I think he'd been there all night. Like he's really a hard worker. We recorded this orchestra, which was such a cool peak life experience. And then we go home and we kind of start parsing through like finalizing the production and editing stuff down. And still like don't know if we've got it.
So let me ask you this. Yeah. So now your song is being played by an orchestra. Is it a known orchestra? Is it like the London Philharmonic?
I don't think it's a Philharmonic, but it's all incredible musicians that Hans works with routinely because Hans scores so many movies. So it's these people that are kind of, I'm sure they work outside of him as well, but he walks around the room and knows all 70 people.
Now I know it's Hans Zimmer, but it's also your music.
Right.
So he's charted your music, right?
Yeah, a couple different orchestrations have been made that we've sort of been involved in, but I don't, I'm not good at writing sheet music, so somebody else has written it all out.
But does it take a different path than you had envisioned?
I think we kind of worked on it together until it was right. But then the interesting thing was we did 2 or 3 different orchestrations that were all played down by the orchestra. And then somehow I wrested all the files away from everybody and went back home and cut it all up and took out the stuff I thought was unnecessary and left in only the stuff I thought was great. So I cut out probably like 50% of the orchestra and sent it in, like sort of submitted it to Hans and thought like, he's going to be so mad. Like this, you know what I mean? Like I felt
that is so fucking brave. Hans Zimmer, you're editing his work.
Him and the other amazing composers. So yeah. So I'm kind of going like, oh man,
that's like saying Mozart.
I'm going to cut
cut some of this stuff. This isn't necessary.
So I cut it, but this is how you know Hans Zimmer's amazing is we send it in and I'm just like, and I'm anticipating him being like, you're smoking gas, like what's going on? And he wrote back and was like, sounds great. And we were like, wow. And to me there were so many things I felt like I learned from Hans, and the thing I want to carry into, if I get to have a really long career, is like I want to be, however old he is, like 60, 50, I want to have made a million amazing things and be as egoless as that guy is. Be as like, what do you guys think it should be, as that guy is? Because how tempting must it be to be at that place in your career and be like, shut up. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I've done this a million times. We'd never done anything like that before. So it was very inspiring in that way.
But that's what I noticed about you. That's kind of the full circle of this conversation. I think ego fucks more people up than anything, and overthinking, and the uniqueness of each and every one of us and what we can bring to the party is, comedically, just from humanity, is something that we have to always be open to. And you'll find that the people that do the best are the people that are open, and the closed-minded people don't do well in anything.
I feel that, like, as I work with like artists that are even younger than I am, just starting out in their career, there's a lot of talented people. Like that seems to actually be the thing that there isn't a shortage of. Like, there's a lot of really talented people. And the thing I'm paying the most attention to is like people that don't get in their own way. Like, that's the number one thing I look at. People that are nice to work with, that don't get like a crappy reputation, that are enthusiastic about it, that are driven and hardworking.
My theory in life is that everyone is exactly where they need to be, and they are the reason they are there. So if they look at somebody else and go, he or she is so successful and I'm not, there's a reason you're not. And it's not because they all look to outside people. They go, they didn't give me the chance. They didn't, you know what, they, it's always you.
Right. You might not have had rich parents.
Right.
I think there's
holes,
other shoot in that
but not real. But if you're calling success the ability to buy something, I'm talking about somebody who is pursuing a skill.
Yeah.
The fact that you had the nerve to cut Hans Zimmer's work.
Reckless, yes.
I think most people in your position, even if you thought, and you did, think that this was a waste of a couple of bars, or this didn't work, or this didn't work. Yeah. I think the power of somebody sitting there going, this is fucking Hans Zimmer. He wants this. I'm just going to be a good boy, and I'm going to do it. No, but that's how the average person would have thought. I think you're a superstar because that's not how you think.
Thanks, man.
You know, but no, thank you for being you. And I think that you are as successful as you are.
Thanks.
And will continue to be successful for recognizing that, you know, we're all human.
Right.
And everybody has something to offer. And on a smaller level, I kind of see it, you know, when I'm on America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And I'm never, I'm fascinated by how many people each year can show up doing something or come up with things.
They're like brilliant at it. They're better at the thing that they're better at juggling with a cup on their head balanced than you could ever get at that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're so gifted at this stuff.
Right, but they're gifted because they didn't get in their own head and say somebody already does this, or this is not the way to make a living, or my parents wouldn't be proud of me.
Yeah.
You know, they just did it. And I find that you and your sister and your entire family do that. Are your parents still pursuing their careers?
How do I answer this as
honestly
as accurately as possible?
Your mom's an actress,
dude.
You did a movie with your mom.
Yeah, my mom is an actress. She wrote a film that I was in as well. We made it on not a low budget movie, like a no budget movie, like a movie that, you know, it was 99% favors.
The title is
Life Inside Out.
Life Inside Out. Go check it out.
Yeah, but really, again, like we made it for, I think it would be called a micro budget movie.
Okay.
People love to throw like low budget around. It's like $5 million. Like I think we made it for like 20 grand. Like it was,
oh wow,
you know, no money. And that was really exciting. She wrote that. I think, you know, our parents inspire us a lot. Our mom has always been a super giving, wonderful, charitable person with not a lot of extra money to throw around at things, and not even a lot of extra time to throw around at things, just because she's having to support her kids. And the thing I like to talk about is like, I paid off our parents' mortgage in 2019, I think, and almost immediately she started a nonprofit. Like the second she wasn't having to worry about providing for her kids, she was like, great, and started a nonprofit.
What is the nonprofit?
She formed a nonprofit called Support and Feed, which she started like the second COVID started. And the premise was, our family's all vegan, vegetarian. And the premise was, in the first week of its inception, it was, wow, all these restaurants are going to close because they can't be open serving anyone. So they're all going to go out of business. And there's all these hospital workers working, you know, insane shifts, not even getting to go home to their family because they're, you know, they may be exposed to COVID. This was like back in the heyday.
Right.
And so she was like, what if we started this organization where you would donate money to restaurants, the restaurants would make food, deliver all the food to hospital workers. And so you're kind of like two birds, one stone, saving a restaurant, allowing them to stay open, and then also providing for all these people. And as COVID has shifted time and time again, Support and Feed has sort of shifted and as restaurants sort of began to reopen, it became a much broader, working on broader food insecurity. And also, you know, the other thing about food insecurity is a lot of the sort of, I don't want to name any names because they're all great in their own right, but a lot of the corners that get cut to feed people for cheap means really unhealthy food. And so that became part of it.
So this is healthy.
Yeah, it's plant-based, it's nutritious, it's not, you know, fast food. And I think that that's the other thing that's important is you take an underserved, underprivileged community of people getting food for free that is unhealthy, and then the food that you're able to consume because you don't have the money to buy food for yourself is bad for you, and you have all of the fallout of that. You have, you know, your health fails you.
So that's wonderful that she would do that. So we'll put that on our
please
put it up, and that's she's still doing that, right?
She is. Yeah, I mean, she's, you know,
So that says something about your parents because you guys made it, and and what is your dad doing?
Our dad is he helps a lot with that. I mean, we've all done a lot of delivery driving for meals, and I'm on the board of my mom's nonprofit, which is awesome. And but our dad also is still on our touring crew, and
that's a great
works so hard and loves it, and I love that about him. I mean, really is like, it should be noted that like never have we been like, Dad, you must go bust your ass on stage all day. For I'm sure he's paid just exactly what everybody else on our crew is paid. I don't think he's not receiving 5 times the salary or whatever. He's just a crew member, but he loves it. And I think he loves I'm sure he's proud of me and Billy. He says he is, but I think he also loves the camaraderie of the guys on the crew, the men and women. We have a very co-ed crew, and I think he loves the day in, day out of it.
So go ahead.
I watched a documentary, and what really stuck out to me was the alternative focus that your family has on that they had on raising you and raising kids and what the focus should be. And it wasn't so much about like, you got to go to school, you got to go to college, you got to do, and then get a 9-to-5 job, which that is the focus for a lot of people.
Sure.
And it kind of facilitated who you guys are. What would you say? Are you planning on having kids? Do you want to have kids?
I desperately want to have kids.
Yeah.
This is to your earlier point of all this nonsense I've accomplished. Like, I'd have a kid today. You've met Claudia.
I met Claudia
at the Mendocino Farms in Marina Del Rey.
Right.
She has dreams left. So she.
You think that having children dashes all your dreams?
No,
or is that
it's
what
not
she
that
thinks?
it dashes all your dreams. I think she just understandably is like, she's like, when I have kids, I want to allow myself all the time in the world to be a parent. And she's like, and I have tons of stuff I want to do I don't think she doesn't want to have kids at this age and feel like she's being an absentee mother or feel like she's not, accomplishing her goals, which I completely get.
Do you have that same views that your parents had? Like, would your kids be homeschooled? And
I think it would depend on the kids. I would say that like the best thing that our parents did was like, we were not, poor by the standards of the world. But we were lower middle class for sure,
right?
And in LA, especially lower middle class.
You could have gone to public school.
We would only have been able to go to public school for sure. Could never have afforded private school. But what I would say is that our parents always made it look fairly appealing to be kind of broke, but doing things you like to do, and that to me was like my childhood best friend David, who's also a wonderful music producer now. We played in bands together, and we both talked about that our parents, that we were like, the idea wasn't, to do this and get rich or quit if we don't get rich. The idea was to do this and maybe we make some money and maybe we don't, but it's what we want to do. We want to make art. Like, that's what we want to do. And maybe we'll have to work a crappy job part-time to facilitate that. But that's what we're going for. So I think that to me was like the value that was instilled in me by my folks.
Well, even the fact that you paid off the mortgage in that house, you didn't want to buy them a bigger house in a different neighborhood.
They didn't. I tried. They didn't want to move.
They didn't want to move. But that says something. I think that's wonderful. The value in the art and the value in your heart is so much more than the value of the dollar.
And I didn't say, let's get you out of this crappy house. Like, their house, they love their house, and they've also done what all people who've lived in a house for 20 years have done, where they've made it exactly how they want. They've done a million. They've painted it themselves, and so all the sort of romance of homeownership. So I think they're very attached to it. But I definitely was like, would you like me to get you something somewhere else?
And they said no.
Yeah.
And they, you said you want to have a kid. Why were you homeschooled as opposed to public school?
I think a couple reasons, and if they were here, they would tell me one of these answers is wrong. So I think they were at the time making a living acting, which is, unless you're a movie star, a very part-time job. You go on an audition, and maybe that's like all you do that day, and then I got that one part, so I'm working for 3 days, and it pays enough for you to go on auditions for another couple weeks, whatever. So they had time to be around. I was kind of a weirdo as a child. I had pretty severe separation anxiety, and I had pretty intense like sensory, like could only wear a certain type of sock. I was pretty like,
Right.
I was pretty intense, kind of avant-garde. And
another French word.
yeah, I
Neurodivergent.
sure, yeah. And
That's English.
and so I think they were like, we're around this kid, let's try it out.
Do you feel you missed on kind of a social? Do you feel any that you missed on, a kind of a, I'm using the wrong word.
It's okay.
But it would be, I'm going to use the word, though I don't think it is, but a social norm.
Sure.
To be able to relate.
I definitely was not privy to a social norm, but I don't feel that I missed out on anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I definitely wasn't in public or pseudo-private public school, sort of in the day in, day out of like, my friends. Because I still had
Where'd you meet friends?
Extracurricular stuff, which to be honest is like even kids in school, that's like mostly how they're friends with each other. It's like they're in the school play or whatever. And there's like in places like LA, you can be in an extracurricular like free soccer club or a choir program, which wasn't free, but we were on scholarship. And so it was friends through our interests, which was great.
Do you think that you would have been like a lot of our education system puts you in a box?
Sure.
Like you're stuck in a box, right? There's expectations. So maybe you wouldn't have done or been who you were if you were forced to go to school and learn how to be in this. There's one way to do it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And at the very least, I probably would have felt, not even felt. I would have been judged for things that I never was judged for otherwise, right? Like, let's
it's
say
probably healthier. I would imagine public. My son wanted to be homeschooled, but he wasn't accepted.
Daddy has to go do America's Got Talent.
No, I was there the day. The letter came, and it was so sad. He was just reading it, and he.
Dad, how could you do this, Dad?
Yeah, he knew my handwriting, and that is so tough
funny.
for a parent to do.
to decline their kids.
But I think more than your music, more than your art, the humanity of who you are and how you.
That's what people say about me. I have a nice humanity.
Do they? But I'm aware of that, and I'm aware of even the way you do your comedy, and that's the first thing that brought me. I'm a huge fan of your comedy, and I'm
so tickled. My idea of a fun day is sitting around with my friends and making each other laugh, and I think you're hilarious. The fact that you were like, I think you're so funny, I was like, fuck yeah, I was so excited. I was thrilled.
Well, I was excited to meet you. My daughter, who is a huge fan of everything you do, I saw you at Coachella, and I said, did you see how funny? I don't know that she follows you on TikTok. And I said, he's really funny. He's really got, and just commenting on everything and the silliness and the craziness of what people are posting is just blew me away.
Do your fans get your humor? Because there's such
sometimes fine line.
Yeah.
Fine line. There's a lot of like, get this man's phone away from him. There's a lot of that comment.
I get that a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like, probably like stuff that makes me laugh is like the most selfish I am. I'll laugh privately at something for hours. Like, it's really not.
But that's what a sense of humor is.
True.
It's being able to sense humor where somebody doesn't see it. If something's really serious, somebody's really trying hard, something is really obtuse in that, to be able to look at that and not say, well, that's just bad, or that's just silly, or that's just bad content. The fact that you can identify that, I think is also your sensibility for being able to find the sound, find the noise that becomes brilliant music.
I think the thing you were talking earlier about, like somebody coming in and trying to convince you that they're funny, or like, do you want to hear a joke? I feel like that stuff, maybe that's how some great comedian got great, was being that way. But like, to me,
I don't think so.
Humor is like the most, and I think this is why, like, something like TikTok appeals to me so much, is humor's so individualized, and I think it's why incredible comedians like yourself, it's the most profound thing. Like, I'm not a comedian, but I'm an audience member of,
but you are
I love going to see stand up. The best feeling is a comedian pointing out something that you can tell that all 1,500 people in the audience thought only they were noticing and thinking was funny, right? That's like the greatest, and you're so good at that. And
but you know like, that's luck in the sense that we all often talk amongst people will talk about, go to an amateur night, and there's nothing more painful than somebody standing there and just dying. And you go, why? Like, what is he or she even like? Why? Who the fuck told this person that they're funny? And you realize they had one person that kind of identified, Uncle Nathan at the Thanksgiving table said, "You're so funny, you should go do comedy."
Or they had a bunch. Maybe they were funny to their 5 unfunny friends. Like, dude, all the competitive and, art is at least partially subjective. But imagine being in a completely quantifiable field. Imagine being a sprinter. Imagine being like fastest person in all your friends as a kid, fastest dude in your high school, fastest dude in your college, fastest dude everywhere until suddenly you come in last at the Olympics. Like, that must be such an interesting, and I feel like a lot of that, you're a songwriter and your 5 friends go, your songs are beautiful. And then you play for 5 other people and they go, these are beautiful. And suddenly you get a room full of songwriters and everyone's like, your songs suck.
What a great analogy. It is. But what was kind of interesting? For me, it was the other way around. Everything I've ever been punished for, expelled for, hit for, I had no friends as a kid. I went to public school. All of a sudden, on a dare, I went up on stage and it was celebrated. Yeah. And, I talk about making it being that one night when I found acceptance, when I found one like mind, and it was a room of 200 like minds who also. So that's why I celebrate, like, even when I watch you on TikTok and I just watch the finger flicking the fungus, and it's the deep guttural. It's not just funny. Yeah. It's just. It just makes me feel good. It releases an endorphin. It just makes me, that's the music to my ear. That's what I dance to. Sure. And you hit that. And then I realized when I was kind of in my own mind analyzing what you do musically, that's kind of what you do, because you're not doing things kind of like they've been done before.
Thanks, man.
Are you unique in the? I don't know a lot about the music industry, but do you find that you're doing things differently than other people do it?
Yeah, by accident. I mean, I think
because you're you.
Sure, and I think it's like anything where if I were always trying to be unique, I'd probably double.
You can't try to be unique. You have to. You just are unique
by accident. Yeah. So yeah, by accident. But it is funny when because you become friends with people in your field, and that's been like one of the other interesting things about the me and Billy thing is like we did it all
independently on your own.
Pretty separate from other people in the industry. So I know them all through kind of like other collaborations or just sort of socially, like you end up at a party and they're there. And it is funny, like the amount of times I've had conversations with people I admire and respect, whatever. And there's some minutia of like everybody being like, oh, I know that computer program crashes a lot, right? The sort of like funny stuff that's all in common. But in terms of workflow, I'm continually shocked by like, oh wow, I really do this very differently than all these people do.
See, and the fact is, nobody tries to be unique and different. I think we all in society try to be like something else.
Totally, you want to relate.
And the fact that you don't is what I think makes you stand out. And I hope you keep being unique.
Thanks, man.
And I hope you keep doing what you do. I'm telling you that you have a fan forever in me. Thanks, in so everything that you do. I'm so blown away by even more than your family and the things that you told.
I love my family.
But you know what? I love your family too, and I aspire. And I joked a little bit about having my kids, but family is so important to me.
Well, listen, man, you're doing a great job. You got all your kids around you and close. Yeah, that's it.
And that's the biggest. And that's the most important thing to me. And I don't care about notoriety, and I don't really care about money. I like to pay the rent, but this is what I care about, and I see that.
Thanks, man.
When I go to your shows, when I do it's wonderful. And your relationship with your sister and the way you talk about your parents is just, it makes my heart gush.
Wow. Thanks, man.
It does. And you're real funny. And if you ever want to collaborate and do something together,
I'd love to.
Good. I sing a song. No.
You should make sounds for the background of one of his songs.
I don't have a Visalign. But
the Bobby's voice
we'll
in the background.
The Howie interlude.
Yeah.
Great.
Can you use that anywhere?
That's crazy.
I don't see him taking out his phone and recording it now.
It's Gizmo, it's Bobby.
Yeah, I'll sample the podcast.
Yeah.
And there's a sound at night when I take off my underpants. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have been great. Do you want to plug anything?
No, I got nothing to plug.
You've got everything to plug.
Happy to come.
8 Grammys. 1
That's
Academy
my
Award.
plug. Hey, check me out. I got 8 Grammys. That's my
But you know, and deservedly so. I imagine that this is just the beginning of a huge, it's already a huge career.
I sure hope so.
But you're one day, I'll be too old, but maybe one of my kids will be doing a podcast or whatever they call it in the future. And they'll tell the exact same story, but instead of Hans Zimmer, it'll be.
But I'll be German in the future. I'll be like, hello. I will have had a
And I got on the phone
Germany.
with Finneas.
Yeah.
And he went,
And
hello.
he does this whole German thing now.
Now,
Yeah. 60s, he went all German. Once he did enough music, he just got German.
And I cut out half of Phineas's work, and he accepted it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Finneas.
I thought it was brilliant. You're like, why was he talking like this? So weird. He's from East LA.
Is this the best podcast you've done today?
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah.
But today, is this
Yeah,
the
it's
best
great.
one?
It was
Wow,
awesome.
Thank you. You didn't have to say that. You're the best. And subscribe and review.
Thanks
and,
for having me,
no, thanks for coming in. Boom.
What did I hear you on? Were you on like Smart List? So 3 or 6 weeks ago or something.